Hey, do your dates look like this when you'd rather they look like this? Does your formatting look like this when you'd rather it look like this? There's a good chance you just need to open your CSV file a little bit differently. It's actually really easy to fix. Let me show you how. So here I double clicked on an Excel file, and Excel opened it in a manner which all my data was put into column A. So if I look here, everything's in column A, and that's just because Excel wasn't able to determine what the delimiter was for my CSV file. More often than not, Excel's really good at this. You can double click on it and it's going to open up fine. But if you do come across this, one really quick way you can fix this is to first just select all your data. In this case, I'm just going to do a Control-Shift down and select all my rows. Then I'm going to go to the Data menu, and I'm going to select the option Text to Options. Sorry, Text to Columns, right? And so this is going to open up a wizard that's going to guide me through separating my data. So I'm going to specify here, first option is delimited. Then I'm going to click Next, right? And it already knew that I'm separating it here. I specified that I'm separating it by a comma. So now Excel went and put everything into its own proper column. Text qualifier. This option here, the text qualifier, would be, let's say I have a comma, but I don't actually want to use it as a delimiter. I could put quotations around it, and Excel will know not to treat that specific comma as a delimiter. In this case here, we don't have that. But you can still leave that option there. So I've hit comma, and now I'm going to hit next again. And you can see here now that it's asking me, I can go and specify for each column what is the data type, right? So the one that I really would probably want to work on is my date. So if I click on the date column, I know for a fact that in this case here, my date is using the US format, which is month, month, day, day, year, year. So I'm just going to go click on the date, and then I'm going to click on month, day, year at the top here. And now you can see that it actually changed my data type over here to a date, and it's using month, day, year format. I'm going to hit finish, and there we go. It fixed my my file. But one thing you'll notice is that it's using my system default, which is you know, I'm in Canada, so it's using year, 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 month, 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 day, day, day. But it did format the dates correctly. So for instance, if I were to go to my filter function and hit the drop down, it does actually see all the different months that are available here. Another way that we can open the file is by using Power Query. So in this case here, I opened a blank workbook. I'm going to go to the Data menu, and then I'm going to click on Get Data Power Query and select the Text to CSV option. If you're on Windows, it's already going to be in the ribbon. You don't have to click on the Get Data Power Query. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to ask me to browse to my file. So I'm going to go and select my file, and I'm going to click on Get Data, and I'm going to click Next. And here it loaded up my file. And I could actually already just open my file like this, and it would create a table within my Excel workbook, and I would probably be happy with this. But let's say you want to take it one step further. Just a quick note. So over here you see it automatically detected that my delimiter is comma, but let's say it was semicolon, it would look like this, and I would just go and select comma, right? But let's use Power Query to actually work with this data. If you're not familiar with Power Query, it's a very big place, just like Excel. There's a lot to cover. I'm just going to cover a few steps, but it records your steps so that every time you open the file, you don't have to repeat your steps, right? So let's just take a quick look here. So I'm going to click on Transform Data instead of Load. And so here you can see I have my columns already organized, and it's actually even named them for me and put in data type. So here I believe it might be text or general. Here it's currency, and here it's already been formatted as date. So let's say I wanted to do something like, you know what, every time I open this file, I want to have the first name in a column and the last name in a separate column. I could do something like select my column, and then up here I have split column, and I'm going to select by delimiter, right? And right now it's looking for the comma. I would just select space because there's nothing in between the first and last name, and hit OK. And you can see it created an extra column over here. And if you look to the right, it created a step. So if I wasn't happy with that step, I could just close it out and it would remove that step. Watch, I'll just click the X button and it removes that step and we're back to where we were before, right? So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to go into split column by delimiter, space, and hit OK. And now it's done this again. So now it's recorded my steps over here on the right, and I'm happy with that. I'm going to rename my column over here. We can just call it first. And so now I've got that. Another thing that I would probably do here, so right now I'm happy with the date format. I haven't actually encountered the issue, but I have seen sometimes where your date format is going to look something like this, where you're going to have certain cells get recognized as dates and certain cells are going to be general and they're not recognized as dates, and that could have something to do with the with your system, right? If you're in Canada trying to open a file with a US date format, it could create an issue. So for instance, right now I know I'm using the US date format of month, day, year, right? So what I could do is I'm going to click on the format, right? And I know it's going to seem counterintuitive, but I'm going to go to using local for this one here, and I'm going to select date, and then I'm going to pick the zone that best corresponds to the data I'm working with. So in this case here, it's from the US. There we are, United States, and so it's going to put it in the US format. I can hit OK, right? And so now it's probably going to fix all of those issues I'm having with the date. So it's just a slightly more advanced way of fixing the date if you're having issues with the date. And so if I'm happy with all of these steps, it's been recorded over here, I'm just going to click close and load. And here you can see it's opened everything up, and then it's properly recognizing all my dates. If I want to change the format, I can now just right click and go to format cells and pick the right date format that I want it to display in, but it's going to recognize it as a date properly so that you can work with your data. Yeah, another cool thing about this is that it's linked to the original file. Because I'm using Power Query, I actually have a connection to the original file. So for instance, if I went into the original file and I added more records, I would just have to open up this file here that I have. Right now I haven't saved it. It's called book 9 still. But let's say I saved it and I open the file. All I would have to do is hit refresh, and it's just going to go and automatically take all that data again. Another thing you can do is just use the text split function that's built into Excel. So in this case here, it's maybe not the greatest example because I have dates and it's not going to properly format those dates. But let's just assume I didn't have the dates, and you just have data that's delimited by a comma. All you need to do is equals text split. Right? First argument is the cell we want to evaluate. Second argument is what is our delimiter. So you just want to put it between quotations. So in this case here, it's a comma. I'm going to close it out, hit enter, and you can see it broke everything into separate columns. And then all I would need to do is just, copy this down and paste. And so you can see that it properly formatted everything. Now, like I said, the only thing you'd want to make sure is that, if you're using something like dates, it's not going to get formatted properly. It's in general over here. But sometimes that might actually be all you need. Excel's a big place, Power Query is a big place, so there's probably more than one way to accomplish what I presented here today, but my main goal was just to, hopefully I helped you solve your problem, but if not, at least point you in the right direction so that you have the tools to start troubleshooting this on your own. So I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching.